to a very spooky special for the Halloween Wrestling Podcast. I am your host, Kieran Brennan. With me, as always, my colleague.
The man that Chinelli's forgot Rian. I knew he was going to try and do some sort of Halloween intro. I was like, fuck. Better mentally prepare myself for how What?
Who do we have with us this week?
We have, for the first time, which is very exciting, for the first time since, I've been trying to think of the right word, signed, we'll go with signed, to his umbrella of wrestling podcasts and a very good football podcast. We spoke to him on Takeover Throwbacks a few months ago, and a lot has happened since then. And it's Dits. How are you, sir? Dits on wrestling.
Hello. I'm wonderful. How are you?
Oh, we're doing great. A lot has happened. I mean, I don't know how long ago. It's probably going to, if we look at it, it's probably going to be like 4 weeks ago, and we're going to be like, oh my God, COVID makes it feel like it was a year ago. But a lot has happened since that episode that we recorded, Takeover Throwbacks. So do you want to tell a few listeners what you've been getting up to and what we've been getting up to, essentially?
So around the time that we first got together and had our good episode of NXT Takeover Throwbacks in London, which was very good, I was in the middle of coming up with I don't really know what you call it. Do you call it a podcast network or I don't know. That's I guess would be the common description for it. And I think it was like 3 days later I got in touch with you guys. You were the first signees of ProjectDits. So you'll always have that accolade under your belts. And yeah, I think it's been about 2 months, which is crazy. And it's going well. We started off, it was just us two, and then I think gradually week on week we added more people, and we've got I think 2 more lined up to join. So watch this space for that. But numbers are up. Things are going really well. Like, I think we have a really good team. So, anyone who's listening right now, go and check out the entire team at ProjectDits. Not just me, not just the hallway guys, but the Worst Wrestling Pod. They're in there. We've got Plus Added Time, which is a football podcast with your good friend, your recommendation, bringing on Dara, which is working out very, very well. And yeah, like I said, watch this space for the 2 new acquisitions coming soon.
Yeah, I was wondering what we call we were like, you're our boss. I was like, when I was thinking about the intro, I was like, you're our boss or manager or whatever. And then it reminded me of, and then speaking of Dara, it reminded me, I had put you guys in touch with Dara because Dara I met in college, and he was like, I want to do a football podcast, and so I was like, yeah, they need a co-host. Podcast with one person, like Nathan did as good as he could, but with one it's always good when you got 2 people because you need someone to bounce off on a podcast. It's an unwritten rule.
Yeah.
But so I was like, yeah, Dara, and then he sent his audition tape. He sent me an audition tape before his audition tape, which I had to tell him, go back and do that again. That's just a comedy sketch. You can't say that about people. I was like, you can. So I had to go to try and do it like a football review, and then he sent it, and then I was in the gym, and Dits decided to fucking wind me up by pretending Kieran, listen to this. Dits decided to pretend that he had become Vince McMahon, and the power had got to his head. What did you do, Dits?
I said that Dara was a load of shit, and your recommendation was horrific, and I was going to pass on him. Not interested.
No, your words were, I'm doing it myself.
Oh yeah, that was it. Yeah.
It was like Gronk at Mania moment.
I'm gonna do it myself.
And I was like, for a few seconds, I was genuinely scared, but we got out. But yeah. Enough about that rambling on. It's been a great few months, and we got some content. I think we're gonna decide this will be out before Halloween. I think we'll probably put it on Wednesday or Friday. So probably. Yeah, I think it's we don't want to be like sending this out in December. It's Halloween Havoc. We have dismember for the Christmas episode. Can't wait to do that. But yeah, so if you haven't guessed already, we are reviewing a Halloween Havoc, WCW staple. My God, there's so many WCW pay-per-views when you look at it. But we are reviewing Halloween Havoc 1997, and we might as well get straight into it. My first general notes that I wrote on it, and my first note on my notes up here is WCW wrestlers are all your favorites, but with more facial hair and issues.
Oh. Can I ask, overall, was this show a trick or a treat?
Horror show? Is that an option?
Can I go with travesty?
Yeah. All the
Ugh.
teas. All the teas. But yeah, I have
Yeah.
more questions than answers, to be honest. I'm not gonna lie.
WCW Halloween Havoc. Someone like plugging. I think Hogan mentioned it at one point.
Yeah. World War III was plugged on it, which was just sounded like a horrible idea when they read it out. Bloody hell. But so yeah, we had like I think it was a pre-show. I didn't really. There was no structure whatsoever. Jesus Christ.
There wasn't kickoff. They called it the countdown, but it wasn't. It's not what I watched on the network anyway.
No. So yeah, first of all, it was pretty interesting. First match was New Japan legend Yuji Nagata as the big foreign heel with a small foreign heel manager. Someone can get the name for me because I don't. I'll get it on the other notes.
Sonny Ono.
Sonny Ono.
There
Yeah. Versus who was he against? He was against
Dragon.
Ultimo Dragon. Yeah, Jesus, it was a very good wrestler, and this was probably the first 3 matches on the card were probably where it peaked in terms of wrestling.
It lured me into a false sense of security. I'm not going to lie. This is the first WCW pay-per-view I've ever watched in its entirety. So I was very cautious going in because I've not heard any bad press or anything like that to do with this pay-per-view, but now I'm fully aware that does exist. But I saw this first match and I was like, hang on a minute. This could actually be pretty good. I enjoyed that first match. And it was nice to see Ultimo Dragon wrestle outside of WWE because that's the only place that I know him from. So seeing him in WCW doing his thing, I enjoyed it. It had a nice little story woven into it as well. Went a decent amount of time. I mean, it was just shy of 10 minutes, I think it was. I thought it was good. It was a good opener. And like you said, those first 3 matches, good stuff. And then, yeah, we'll get into the rest of it.
Yeah, Kieran, what did you think of this one?
Well, I liked the match, but there was a weird spot in the middle where there was like, a standard mask pulling off spot or whatever. And the commentator was like, this is very important to Mexican wrestlers or whatever. But then during his entrance, they said that he was from Japan. So they just kind of switched halfway through, which was weird. But yeah, no, it was a good match. And I've never seen anything WCW before. I just know of its reputation. I think the show was okay overall. But this probably was the best one. There was a bit where Raven and his groupies, I think Tony Schiavone came through the crowd.
The flock?
Yeah, that sounds about right. The flock, yeah.
Yeah. We'll get on to him later because I didn't know in a later match just why is Raven sitting in the front row? No reason whatsoever. No reason whatsoever. But yeah, Yuji Nagata, for those who don't know, is like one of the best New Japan wrestlers of all time. He was a champion in New Japan. He fought Mirko Cro Cop in Antonio Inoki, Japan, which is a fun fact for you there. Like MMA legend Mirko Cro Cop, in like a match where they literally beat the living shit out of each other for real. But yeah, he was insane. So go check his New Japan matches out because they're great. But here he was just your standard foreign heel in America, and at this time they lapped that sort of stuff up. So it was a proven like way to get someone heel heat by just being from another country, sadly. But yeah, so Yuji Nagata won. It was really good. It was just like it was really simple working on a body part. And then they attacked Dragon. They attacked Ultimo Dragon afterwards and then left. So yeah, no one interfered. Big shock. Really big shock. I was so shocked. Next up was it was a quick tap out, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Next up was just a Disco Inferno promo, who I realized is Glenn Gilberti, who is still on Impact. Just really, yeah. He's a bit of a shady character in real life, but we'll digress to move on with this pay-per-view. But Disco Inferno just bragged about beating Jacqueline, but also that he's going to beat Jacqueline, but also said that he won't hit a woman. So it was really weird.
Yeah, it's a weird storyline that they brought up a few times, and it happened. It was a weird match. I don't know. 1997 was a different place, man. Intergender wrestling, it still isn't widely done, but like it was at a very different stage here.
Yeah, Dits, what did you think of? We've talked about Disco Inferno before he went on air, but what did you think of this really weird promo where he just switched his tune very quickly?
I don't really understand what the hell was going on because obviously we've come like especially me and Kieran like we've never watched anything WCW before, so we're coming in. We've lost our virginity with this pay per view, which I'm never going to be able to take back, which I'm devastated about. But yeah, so I had no backstory about this thing. I was like, why the hell is this guy fighting Jacqueline? And then I was like, is this Jacqueline from WWE? And I was like, well, what? But anyway, back to the point. Why the hell is he fighting Jacqueline? And then he's banging. Who is this guy anyway? Disco Inferno? Is this a stupid gimmick? And then Jacqueline just dives in out of nowhere and chases it. And then this Gadji is there talking shit. I was very confused. I was like, okay, I know where this is going. And yeah, I guess yeah, like we said earlier, we'll get into the terrible side of Halloween Havoc, and Disco Inferno plays a big part in that. And it started. The seeds were planted in this promo.
The next match was an interesting, really cool one. Special unadvertised bonus match between a young Chris Jericho and Gato, the head booker of New Japan. The highlight of the night.
Didn't want to just I didn't want to come out here and just be like they're all the same. But yeah, I didn't know that was actually Gato.
Yeah, that is Gato. He was wearing a yellow sheet. That's literally all I can describe his attire as, and he was a lot bigger than he is now and had very blonde hair. The best moments of the night for me were Bobby Heenan on commentary. It started off with him. He just kept, every time there was a weird name, he just kept asking them was their name something else. So for this one, he had Ghetto instead of Gato. It was like Ghetto as in Ghetto. Asking them was that his name, and they were just like no, and he kept saying, "Oh, it's Ghetto." It's like no, it's not. It's not Bobby.
Weird commentary lineup. Dusty Rhodes. I didn't know Dusty Rhodes did commentary.
Yeah, I didn't really.
I think it was like on and off. I don't think it was a constant thing. But then I've never watched WCW, so what the hell do I know?
Yeah, all I can say for this match, it wasn't as good as the first one, but the Lion Tamer is so protected, and there was a really cool Hurricane Rana spot. Yeah, that's about it I had for this match. Anyway.
Chris Jericho nearly died.
Yeah,
the Lion Tamer looks brutal, like, and it's the second fast tap out in a row as well. I don't know. It's clear he has like a really good stage presence here, and he clearly has a lot going for him. But I don't think his potential would be fully realized until he was in WWE, pushed towards main event status or whatever, you know?
Yeah. Okay, so that was a good, solid match. But then we had a little segment, and with segments before the pay-per-view, it's supposed to get over the storyline. Fucking Mongo, it is Mongo, yeah. Like I had someone to explain the phenomenon that is Mongo, because apparently there's like literally out of context Mongo Twitter accounts all over all over the place. But this promo just served to confuse me on this storyline. I know they're married. I know there's a Super Bowl ring involved, but what the fuck were they talking about?
Mean Gene was really impressed that she had a Rolex. Like, he was really surprised. It was very odd. I didn't know he was in WCW as well. I was like, I just kept seeing names throughout this entire show.
They all were.
Really?
They all were.
But like, I really wanted a promo package for this because it was clear there was a lot of storyline going on here that had been built for weeks or whatever. But I have no idea what the fuck was going on.
Yeah, it was odd. It was. But I was very glad to finally come across Mongo because, like you said, there's all these Twitter accounts out there, and I've been watching them like over the past couple of months because these have sprouted up out of nowhere. Now they're huge. They've got thousands and thousands of followers, and rightfully so because there's some great stuff in there. And I believe actually one of the clips was in the match that we saw tonight as well. Funnily enough, but I had no idea what the hell was going on.
Yeah, my two new favorite wrestlers are Mongo and Canyon Cutter. Just look up Canyon Cutter compilation and enjoy yourself. It's a thing of beauty. But yeah, now we go on to probably the high point of the night. I've seen this match before, and I love watching it again. Eddie Guerrero versus Rey Mysterio for the Cruiserweight title, mask versus hair, I think it was. Or was it just mask versus title?
According to Wikipedia, it's title versus mask, but I was pretty sure it was hair versus mask as well.
Yeah, well, but they probably booked it again in the middle of the match, like no. But beautiful hair on Eddie. That's my first comment because it is he looks good. Eddie is a beautiful man, and he's probably one of the most versatile wrestlers I've ever seen in the ring. That man can work any style at all.
Mm-hmm.
And heel Eddie was just chef's kiss. Yeah. Dits, as someone who watched Eddie, I'm assuming in the post WCW era, what were the main differences you noticed between like a heel Eddie and then the Eddie we saw in Brock, which is my favorite Eddie feud ever from watching back, Eddie versus Brock? What are like the main differences in ring and in terms of his character?
I think, well, in ring wise, like Eddie can be vicious, and we saw that throughout this match here. And I think there's a couple of matches or highlights that I've seen throughout his WCW run where I've seen and a bit of ECW as well. But he can really just flick that, like you said, how versatile he is. He can flick that switch and go from like the babyface style, like he's still the same moves, but he just does it in a different way. He just makes everything more impactful as a heel. And throughout the year, there was a couple of big bumps that he did in this match, which I don't think he would have done as a babyface, like going into his run in WWE, especially his Brock feud and all that kind of stuff. And when he was like one of the biggest stars, especially on SmackDown in the Ruthless Aggression era. But I just with Eddie in general, I'm glad that because I've never watched this match, by the way. I'm just going to throw that out there. I've seen highlights. I've never seen this match in its entirety before. Oh, Jesus Christ, what a treat. And it's so, any time I get to watch Eddie Guerrero do his thing, it's just an absolute pleasure to see it. And especially, I wouldn't say this is peak Eddie, but everything he was doing is what he would go on to do. And I think when he did his heel run in WWE as well, I think I'm trying to think when it was, not when he was part of the Radicals. I think it was after he ditched China. Then I think he actually got suspended for a little bit, and then he came back, and I think it was around the time he was doing the ladder matches against RVD. Then he moved to SmackDown, had a ladder match against Edge. Around that time,
the ladder match against Edge was so good.
Amazing!
Free on YouTube, such a steal.
And I think the Eddie that we saw in that period, I could see in what I saw tonight with Halloween Havoc. So the comparisons are there, and he's definitely pulled it across. But I don't know. I think WWE Eddie for me will always be the peak Eddie Guerrero, because he was just wonderful.
Yeah, Kieran, what do you think of Ray's gear? There's a lot of I think Ricochet had a tribute to it last year, or in one of the I think it might have been one of the Saudi shows or something. But it looked really cool.
Oh, it was so cool, and it even served the storyline purpose as well. The commentators pointed out later in the match that the reason he's wearing a full-on bodysuit is so it can connect to his mask, so that it can't be, snatched off his head. I think they said Eddie Guerrero did it like before the show or something. That he stole his mask or something like that. But it's cool that it served the storyline purpose. And at one point, his mask is like half ripped off, and it was just an incredible visual and looked really cool as well. So that's really great looking stuff. The whole show, actually, from a design standpoint, was cool. The stage was nice, not as cool as the pumpkin stuff they'd bring in soon. I don't know if they did it before this year. And then the actual ring itself had like the orange and yellow color scheme, which was cool.
Yeah, unbelievable submission work. And then one of the big spots was the tree of woe drop kick Eddie's testicles straight into the post. That looked rough. Eddie threw himself into that one. It was that wasn't someone just dragging someone at like snail's pace into a ring post. He went flying into it. Phil Babb, if you will, if you're a football fan, you get that reference. But yeah, great. The high point of the night, great match, and then the finish was one of the best sneaky roll-ups ever from a Hurricane Rana. It was kind of similar to the Jericho spot. They point like it didn't look like it could have gone wrong as much, but it was the Hurricane Rana, and Ray reversed it, and then Eddie flipped afterwards and threw Ray out of the ring, and then Ray went up the ramp without interference, thank God.
Yeah. And new cruiserweight champion as well.
New cruiserweight champion. I look the cruiserweight championships right now. I mean, I don't even it's Elfan. Yeah, it's making a resurgence, but it'll mean Ray having a run with that again will be cool. If Ray was ever to do something else after Dominic, maybe as his last run, maybe him versus Escobar for the cruiserweight belt would be a cool storyline. But yeah, we move on to Bischoff looking like he's going for a pint with his mates. Black denim over a hoodie. WCW is an unsafe working environment. Duh. And then he went on to talk about people coming from the rafters and shit. I was like, no shit, Eric.
Well, yeah. They're scared of saying, and he makes like a big demand that it didn't really feel like that big a demand. He said Hogan wouldn't wrestle unless things banned from the arena.
Yeah, but it was a cage match. Like,
yeah. It's the thing though. He jumps down from the rafters. That's fair enough. He could hop down in the middle of the ring. That's his thing. Can I ask though? Just before this bit, me and Gene came out, and he like plugged the hotline to like receive secret information.
Yeah, what the hell was that?
I don't know. I've seen videos of have you ever seen the video of Steve Austin on the hotline like screaming down the phone at random people? That's a really funny video. There used to be a WWE hotline apparently.
Yeah. But just like it just said server not in use anymore or something over the number, and I was like, what
yeah, I remember watching a video.
I don't get it. I don't get what he was even offering at all. Like, you just call up and he would tell you like backstage information.
Yeah, I remember. I love the way WWE is so like censored these days. But like this WWE hotline, Steve Austin was standing over an answering machine. They were like, "We got Carl from Illinois," and he was like, "Stone Cold, you're fucking shit." And he's and Stone Cold's just like, "Shut the fuck up, man." It was just like, why? It was just brilliant. But yeah, Sting can't even sell popcorn. I'm sure he's really upset about that. And then we get on. Sorry, Eddie and Ray, but this is the best match of the night. Alex Wright versus Mongo. Fucking hell, this was so bad.
Because look, I know it's a stupid match. I know it is a boring match. Like, it's a stupid. It seems like a stupid storyline. The whole thing seems like a mess. But it had a build to it, Like there was some storyline involvement. But the whole fucking thing was ruined because the commentators just buried it. Because they spent the whole time talking about Hogan and fucking Roddy Piper. There was an unadvertised match earlier in the night that you could have just put here and talked over it the whole time if you needed that. Yeah. But oh my fuck, the whole pay-per-view from this point onwards, the commentators won't shut the fuck up about this storyline that goes nowhere. Insane.
I before we I want your thoughts on this in a minute, but one thing I picked up on was I went to go for a glass of water and I came back and Alex Wright was just doing some stupid dance. I don't even want to call it dance to the ring. It's just like his mystery opponent just shaking his shoulders. I don't even know what he was doing.
That's great.
Dude, what did you think of this?
Oh god. It was terrible. And this was the catalyst for what was I wouldn't even beat around the bush. This was a shockingly bad pay-per-view from this point. It's so bad that Ray and Eddie have to be surrounded by all of the crap that is this pay-per-view. But it all started with this match. It was naff. It was just bad. And the worst thing about it was when Deborah got involved and Charles Robinson was there in the corner, freaking arguing with her for about half an hour. When Goldberg came out, because why not? Charles Robinson definitely turned around at least twice and saw what was happening behind him. I clocked it. As soon as I saw it the first time, I said, right, here we go. He's going to keep on doing it. In fact, when Goldberg had Mongo up for the jackhammer, he nudged into Charles Robinson, and Charles Robinson turned around to go, oh, what's going on? Oh, yeah, he's got a jackhammer, but I'm going to ignore that. I'll carry on arguing with Deborah. Stupid. So bad. The argument just seemed to go on forever because Goldberg was taking forever with the whole thing was just stupid. I don't even know why is a Super Bowl ring involved. It's shocking.
Did you see the best bit about this? I can't even. Did you see the bit where Alex Wright tapped Mongo on the back to turn him around to push him? And Mongo sold it like he'd been shot. He literally. It wasn't even a move. It was literally tapping him on the back to fucking Irish whip him, and he thought it was a wrestling move. So he sold it like he was fucking shot. So bad. And then Goldberg, bless him, his spear would have been all right if he hadn't tripped over Alex Wright, who was on the ground. and just fell into Mongo.
Mongo didn't even sell it. He kind of went, "Oh, what's going on here?" Like he just sat up straight away, like half sat up and did a crunch. It was like, "Oh, what's going on?"
We also had the botched pile driver spot a la Roman Reigns and Undertaker, which was just horrible. Oh my god, this was just why Goldberg wanted a Super Bowl ring, I'll never know. Yeah.
Right, Goldberg did.
I don't know. I mean, like from now on, I don't think there's a match that didn't have a run in. Yeah. So Alex Wright, his third pay-per-view win in a row. Well done, Alex. Went to shake Goldberg's hand and got a jackhammer instead. Okay, this was just like started his career in a feud with Mongo. Goldberg did. Steve McMichael, to give him his real name. I don't think he deserves it. And then we get on to this Macho Man promo, which was just a coke-filled like rant that kept going on. He kept saying Slim Jim.
I couldn't hear him a lot as well. He was either like too loud or too fucking quiet. Weird.
I don't even know. What was the phrase oh yeah, I have here his catchphrase. What was his catchphrase? Snap into it.
Rian really liked this pay-per-view.
Oh my god, I can't stop laughing. This is just snap into it. And then he just kept saying Slim Jim's Halloween Havoc.
Yeah. I like that. I love a bit of horrible advertising in the middle of my show.
Dits, are you a Macho Man fan? Like I'm assuming if you are, it was not this Macho Man, but
I haven't really been exposed to too much Macho Man, and this is probably actually the most exposure I've ever had of him because the promo went on for that long. It was bad.
It was terrible.
Like to be fair, all I was getting was Bonesaw vibes from Spider-Man. That's all I was thinking of during the whole thing. And I don't know why Miss Elizabeth was looking at him so lovingly because I wasn't.
No. It's almost as bad as when he went to TNA, which is like 10 years later, which is just horrible. But yeah, crazy druggy Macho Man promo. Same with the Bischoff one. The Bischoff and Hogan one was saying the same thing for like 10 minutes, and this was the same. Like they could have done this in like a tenth of the time and have this pay-per-view not have been 2 hours and 50 minutes. And here we are, Disco Inferno versus Jacqueline. Jacqueline was looking ripped. She recently retired like 2 weeks ago. She was an amazing wrestler. I haven't seen many of her matches, but Disco respects women was my first note because he doesn't want to hit her, and that was the entire match. He just kept getting out of the ring and getting back into the ring, getting back out of the ring.
Match of the night. It has to be. It was so boring.
Dits, you ranted about this before we went on air. I'll give the floor to you.
Well, I think this match made Alex Wright versus Mongo look like the Ray and Eddie match. To be honest, the whole climbing out the ring thing constantly, maybe 3 times is enough because Kevin Owens does that or used to do it a lot, and I'm fine with it. It works within his character, but I don't know who this Disco Inferno prick is. Like I have no backstory on the guy. I just know he's an arsehole. But I think it was about 7 or 8 times that he jumped out of the ring. It was so it was actually making my blood boil. It was getting to that point. I was like, Jackie, would you just get out of the fucking ring and just chase him? Do something. Just don't. And the referee was pissing me off as well. Like there's a bit of a contrast here. Rian, you find it all laughable. It just really pissed me off. Like the referee just kept. The referee was actually the one getting in between them. It wasn't Disco Inferno like pulling the ref in. The referee was just walking over in between them. He was like, "Oh, hi guys!" Like, get out of the way, just move. But the match itself was just like when it actually kicked off and Jackie ran up the ramp and grabbed him back and all that. Yeah, it was bad.
The best moment for me was on my notes over. Why the fuck is Disco Inferno selling shoulder tackles like he's the Big Show? She's bigger than him. Did anyone see this moment where Disco Inferno was getting shoulder tackled and he was doing that thing where it's like no selling it? Bitch, you're like a cruiserweight. What the hell are you doing? She'd murder you.
That she would.
It was like, oh my god, like he's actually thinks he's the Big Show and Jacqueline is like Ray giving him a clothesline. Like it's so funny. Oh my god, this was like I feel sorry. Like Jacqueline, like There wasn't any like, was there a women's like feud, or was it just like women were just thrown in there with like random lads and just
I
had
think it was the women's match. I don't think WCW were known for their women's stuff ever, really.
No, it was
They
all it was.
blazed that one time.
Yeah, it was all ballets and stuff like that, which is just this was where I started going like, what the hell? Like, ugh, I watched it just before he came on, and I still haven't recovered. But yeah, Jacqueline won. Disco's entrance music was the best thing about it. And that was about it.
Disco is a shit gimmick like back then. Surely you have more sense than like in the late 90s to be relying on disco as a gimmick. Like that's got to be dead on arrival.
Yeah, Kieran, most stuff was dead on arrival in NWO. Sorry, not NWO. They're infecting me now. The 1,500 members of the NWO are making me say it instead of WCW.
This was like peak WCW, was it not? Like 97, 98 is like Attitude Era, man.
Peak is a strong word.
See, that's what I was thinking, because I was like, this is 1997. This is where I think WCW was still beating WWF in the ratings. I was like, I don't know what people are fucking watching.
I think it's like a so bad it's good kind of thing.
Yeah.
I don't know what the modern day equivalent is.
We just picked the rough show is all, genuinely, because like there is good Sting stuff at the end of this, or at least like there is Sting versus NWO stuff, and it's not until that ended really that it started to fall apart. You know, I think unlucky with Halloween Havoc.
Yeah, but it was one of those. It's 97. Like I picked it because of Ray and Eddie, because it was a really good match. But I didn't realize the rest of it was. Speaking of NWO, Mr. Perfect versus Ric Flair. Everybody was in the NWO. It's just a unwritten rule. So this feud was over. Mr. Perfect turned on Flair to leave the Four Horsemen, and then he subsequently won the US belt. So the US belt was on the line, which we'll get to, and then Mr. Perfect came out in Ric Flair's jacket. And what I have is, and I got this from like the review website, this match would have been good 10 years beforehand, but it was as good as match it could have been with the limitations that they had. I'm
not gonna lie, I can't remember anything from this match apart from the finish. I autopiloted through this one, which is shocking when you consider the names that are in this. You got Kurt Hennig and you got Ric Flair, for Christ's sake. Like, I don't know. It just didn't click for me. And this was the start of hearing the NWO theme for the whole rest of the show. And I love that theme song. And even this made me start hating it. It was all freaking night from this point. That's my real only takeaway from the match, because I honestly just autopiloted through it, and I never thought I would say that about a Mr. Perfect and Ric Flair match.
Yeah, we'll get to the finish in a minute, but my highlight of this match, and it says a lot about the in-ring, was when Flair got the belt in his hand, and one of the commentators was like, "What's Flair gonna do with the belt?" And fuck Bobby Heenan again. It was like, spank him, whip him. It's just like, all right, Bobby, tell us how you really feel. It was just brilliant, like horny Bobby Heenan on commentary. Fucking brilliant. But yeah, Kieran, what did you think? Can you remember anything other than Spanky Whippy and nothing from nothing else?
I mean, I don't know. These are two guys that are like past their career peaks. I think it wouldn't be long before Flair jumped to WWE, as far as I know. And his legacy is very much tied to Sting, when Sting was like, good guy Sting. Kurt Hennig, especially, he's well past his prime at this point. He'll always be known for his Mr. Perfect stuff, not his Kurt Hennig stuff. I don't know. Like, it was fine. It was okay. It did have a bit of a classic feel to it, which was nice. But I wouldn't say the match was a classic, you know?
Yeah. The finish. Dits, since this is the only thing you can remember, I'll let you take us through the finish to this match.
Well, it didn't really make much. I don't think. I mean, obviously, I know you've got to dispel disbelief, with wrestling quite a bit. But if you, I'm pretty sure when he had him in the Tree of Woe, and he put the title over him, you'd think he'd kick him with the center plate and that obviously that would do a lot more damage. I'm pretty sure it was the leather strap, which really wouldn't do that much. But that's by the by. But of course, yeah, obviously it ended in disqualification. I mean, yeah, I guess the finish was okay.
Yeah.
But
and then Flair decided to try and beat down Hennig, and then the referees couldn't stop him. And then the other two members of NWO, Conan and Vincent, I know Conan, I don't know Vincent, ran down to help their NWO buddy. Yay. Then we had the thing where JJ Dillon, who was the owner, gave Hogan what he wanted, which was, I don't know what it was.
Bischoff then came out screaming that he didn't want it or something, or that it wouldn't be possible. So I guess the implication was just that they didn't really need the stipulation. They just wanted to get out of the match, I guess.
Yeah, they were scared.
Because Hogan didn't have the title. He was trying to win it back. So I don't know why you would try and avoid the match. I don't understand that, but hey, whatever.
Yeah. And now we have the match that made me write that comment of your favorites with more facial hair and issues. We have Scott Hall versus Lex Luger with a special referee, Larry Zbyszko. And it took me a good 20 minutes to realize that they weren't calling X-Pac, they were calling him Six.
Yeah, it's a great name.
Oh, this was easily the most, like, just not, apart from the main event, the most schmozzy fucking match in the thing. It was just so hard to follow. Like, I don't know what the hell this was, like, and what the purpose of it was. It was literally just get as much NWO crap into it as possible.
Yeah, I was going to say this is classic NWO getting involved. Again, it was. I breezed through it. As soon as there was even a hint of shenanigans and all that kind of stuff, and there were, because the match got restarted and all that stuff, and then Bischoff was out. You might as well have got all fucking 9,000 of the NWO out there. It didn't do anything for me. And to be fair, I'm not a big Lex Luger guy. I'm definitely not a big Scott Hall guy. I don't know. I just don't enjoy either of them, to be honest. And Larry fucking Zbyszko, a special guest referee, why?
Why? We had the kind of, he looked at the Tron and realized that it was a sponge finish, so they restarted. Luger won with the torture rack, and then they just beat up Zbyszko, and they counted the 3 for some reason. So yeah, that was, and then Bischoff just stood there and started screaming, he's the man at Scott Hall. He's not. He was the man, but he's not anymore. He peaked at the ladder match. But yeah, Kieran, what did you think of this? Any positives?
I genuinely have one note down from this, and it's just shenanigans, because I thought I'd remember what they were, and I don't. But I don't know. I watched this morning, and I feel like a lot of the second half of the show I just can't remember, which is weird.
Yeah. The commercial for World War III was interesting.
I liked it. Thought it was creative, kind of.
Yeah. I'm just intrigued by it, so it did well. And next up we have the Las Vegas sudden death match between Macho Man and Randy Savage with Miss Elizabeth against Diamond Dallas Page.
Cool hair.
Yeah, last man standing match basically.
It was okay, wasn't it? It wasn't spectacular. Like this, I mean, going off what the 2 matches before it were like, this was okay. But again, it was a case of, maybe not for Dallas, because I mean he's old at this point. Like, I didn't realize how old he was when he first got into wrestling, but he is like he's probably in his peak at this point. But Savage is way past it. Like, and it was tough to watch at times. I think he went for an elbow drop, the first one he hit anyway, and it was dreadful. And I was like, I've never seen a Randy Savage elbow drop that wasn't perfect, and I saw him basically just fall off the top rope.
I mean, he does a worse one in the main event.
Yeah.
Oh God, yeah.
I think that was meant to be an axe handle. The axe handle from heaven. Probably what they call it. But I had to know here, for someone that is like, for the NWO being this big anti-establishment, Macho Man was just a walking ad for a Slim Jim. It's like, yeah, we hate the people, but we're gonna advertise Slim Jim. But yeah, it wasn't as good as their previous matches according to these notes, but it was still a better match than most on this card, which isn't really saying much, but it was okay. It was hilarious when Elizabeth smashed a pizza tray over the referee's head and knocked him out.
That was good.
And then just started choking out Paige with
Well,
a cable.
good luck.
Just started choking out Paige with a cable. Oh, and then we had the typical Miss Elizabeth getting her hair pulled by some other female.
I
Well,
no
that's
idea.
the
No idea
fucking
who that was.
staple of wrestling before, like, what, 2015? Women's wrestling, I mean.
Yeah. This was it all built to the to finish. Fake Sting, which
Oh, fake.
which-
I've been reading up about fake Sting the last few weeks. Apparently, it's like a proper thing because I was trying to put together a list of like the most iconic WCW moments or whatever. Because I actually want to go back and watch all of Nitro from start to finish because I'm an insane person. And like fake Sting was like a proper storyline where he joined the NWO or some shit. I think
Yeah.
this was.
But yeah, he sorry about this, but I'm just. It later claimed to be Hogan. Was that on the show, or was that just something that was like an Easter egg? Because apparently Hogan claimed he was the fake Sting, which is basically impossible.
Maybe that happened on the Nitro or some shit. Or maybe if you rang the fucking hotline, they said that they saw Hogan checking this thing out of the uniform or some shit.
Oh, Dits, what did you make of this?
I mean, I think it was Hogan. You know, I think it was. Yeah, I'm sure I'm pretty sure they referenced it in the main event, but I'm sure I've read at some point today when I was trying to kind of gather up some backstory to any of these matches. I'm pretty sure they said it was Hogan, but when he came out, I was like, I had no idea who this is. It's definitely not Sting, but I would never have put Hogan and this appearance together, not in the slightest. And then I don't know, I find it odd that getting hit in the gut with a baseball bat. Don't get me wrong, I would not like to be hit in the gut with a baseball bat, but it definitely wouldn't keep me down for 10. Just seems a bit odd.
Yeah, but Hogan was in the main event, completely clean and no face paint on. Was there face paint on the fake Sting?
I think it was like a mask with like the elastic little string that you put over.
Okay.
Because all the ones that came out in the main event, they all had the elastic band to the face mask type gimmick going on.
Okay. Yeah. So baseball to the gut kept him down for 10. Dits says he would have no sold it, so we'll test it out in the future. Once we hit those affiliates on Twitch, we'll do a live stream where someone Dits will find some stranger off the street, pay him a $5 and knock him in the gut with a baseball bat, and see if he's a man of his word. See if he's a man of his word. But yeah, we just want to monetize your pain, Dit. So, but yeah, WCW. Michael Buffer. This was a really cool. I was like, Michael, what are you doing? To know Michael Buffer and the stuff he's called, he must have like paid his. It's you know, I don't know if this is news to anyone, but fun fact: Michael Buffer's "Let's Get Ready to Rumble" is trademarked. No one else.
Yeah, I heard that.
No one else can say that. You get like a cease and desist or get like a fine if you say that. And like if you're in a YouTube video, you can't say that. Like, it's really weird. But yeah, he was announced in the main event.
He even got a Slim Jims in there, didn't he?
Yeah, he did, didn't he? The old cages were. I mean, like if you had a really like small man, you could fit him through the gaps in the cages. There was a lot of
small man, like they were pretty tight.
I mean, I'm just trying to get over the fact that like they weren't like they've changed, they've developed a lot over the years. They basically just looked like it was.
I don't think they've ever used that cage before because again, like when I was reading up some notes, I think that because I didn't even know what the hell that thing was supposed to be. Was it supposed to be like a Hell in a Cell and they forgot to put the top on, or was it supposed to be like some kind of like Kennel from Hell gimmick? I don't know what the hell this thing was. But Steel cage. I don't think they've ever used that type of cage before because the cage matches that I've seen before this were structured a lot better than this. This was essentially just chicken wire.
It might be a WCW one, like their special version of a cage or something. Because I know for a fact that WrestleMania 2, Hogan and fuck, I'm drawing a blank on his name, but Hogan has a cage match, and it's like a normal cage that we're used to now. Like,
Maybe it was a fitting metaphor for their wrestlers at the time, broken and lousy.
Well, I'd always be concerned if I was climbing up one side of the cage, the other side opposite is rattling like really bad. Like that's when I'd be like, nah, I'm not going up there. And that's every time they were climbing, I was like, oh my god, this whole thing is shaking.
What would have made this? What would have made this match? What would have made this match so good was if they were climbing one side and the other side just started lifting up off the ground. Some scene from some like skyscraper movie. That would have been hilarious. But yeah, Piper came out carrying Hogan's belt. I love Piper's music. I love bagpipe music from like Drew's entrance as well. And this like Piper's music is a classic. It's really good. But yeah, it was so hard to take this seriously. Really hard, like really hard, and it will become apparent later why. But like, of course, the cage became out. Like the cage opened. I mean, we learned from Hell in a Cell on Sunday that like it doesn't even matter anymore. But yeah, so you didn't have to escape to win, is what I've got on my notes.
Yeah,
weird. I don't. Then they kept trying to escape again later.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure before it was just like whoever survives is the winner. But then in the match when they fell out of the door, just literally just before they did it, they went, "Oh, whoever goes out here is gonna win," and they both tumble out. And they go, "Oh no, I guess we're carrying on." And it was like, right, okay, this is strange. And then they battle ringside for a little bit. They go back into the ring. They're still trying to climb out, which is odd because the going out the door was easier. Just do that again if you're trying to get out. And then at the back, there's no referee in the ring at any point at the start of the match or throughout the majority of it. And then towards the end, there's a referee in there making calls. It's like, what is happening?
Yeah.
Is this, are you supposed to escape? Are you supposed to pin? Are you supposed to submit? What the fuck is this thing?
Yeah, and we'll just get to the elephant in the room. So there was a call on commentary. I didn't really know. I noticed it kind of, but there's a call on commentary where they were just like, "Oh, Sting's out here watching." Then they were like, "Oh, there's two Stings," and then the crowd shit started happening. Like it was like, "Oh, there's a Sting coming down. Oh, there's another one. There's 5."
I like that stuff. I like all the different things.
I couldn't take it seriously. I'm sorry, I can't. Like 5 of them, just all watching. And then, so the finish, something I noticed was when the finish happened and they started like, guys, obviously, Randy Savage, yeah, Kieran, you can talk about the best elbow drop he's ever hit from the top of the cage.
Oh, he gets to the top of the cage and it's clear he's about to jump off. And I was like, oh, wow, this is a really high cage. It's higher than usual. It's probably cell height at this stage. And he does his big leap, but he doesn't hit anything. He lands on his feet awkwardly. That could just be the way he has to take it now, to be fair to him, to like be safe, which is a good thing. But it just looked kind of awkward, and then Hogan collapses, and the commentators have the fucking balls to say he got Hogan, as if he fucking scratched him at all. It was so weird.
Yeah, and then Roddy choked him out. Well, Hogan just couldn't answer the count. His arm went limp. So yeah, and then after the match, what I noticed was they did that whole like kind of schmoz. We'll get onto the Stings in a minute, but they're about to chain Roddy Piper to the cage, and all the fans were literally, as I was mentioning, the gaps in the cage. All the fans could literally reach in, and Hulk Hogan, they were all just like slapping them. It was just like how close are they to the ring? They must have pushed the barricade forward. They were part of the match. Oh my god, what is this? Like, honestly, I love WCW. But yeah, then some random Sting came in and just got absolutely blown into the edge of the cage. Just got like yeeted into the cage.
Well, I think it was a fan, wasn't it?
Oh no, there was a fake Sting first. But then, yeah, as did you can explain what you saw, because I think I kind of took my eye off, and then all of a sudden there was a fan in the ring. Clearly a fan.
He launched himself up that cage and then got himself in, and then he was in for a world of hurt when he came down. I don't know if this is a shoot or what. I honestly don't know. But probably, I don't know.
Probably a plant.
It's just, I think it's just the way. I don't know. The cameras seemed to focus on him for a little bit, and then they stopped focusing on him until Hogan worked his way over to the fan and started, trying to beat 10 bells of shit out of him. I don't know. I couldn't call it because it seemed to just go off the air, the show, and they said, "Oh yeah, we're running out of time," and then blah, 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 and then it was over. Whilst Roddy was like literally just handcuffed to the side, just like, is somebody gonna do something to me here? I don't know.
Surely it would have been cut from the network, right? Unless they want to make a further embarrassment of WCW.
Well, they did speaking of Eddie Guerrero matches earlier on, his one that he did with RVD on Raw, where the fan came in towards the back end of the match, that's still on the network. So I don't know. Maybe it's just, I don't know. It's hard to say. Because it's WCW and shenanigans. Who knows?
Yeah.
Sure, the next night or something. Who knows?
Yeah. This is probably the toughest thing ever. Describe this pay-per-view in one sentence.
I can do it in one word.
Shite.
Yeah, shit.
Scary thing you'll ever watch.
Yeah, for the wrong reason. Yeah. If you're looking for a scary movie, just watch WCW Halloween Havoc 97. It'll frighten the shit out of you. But yeah, this was just, I don't know how, like, fair play, lads. I think we should give ourselves a pat on the back for covering that in 50 minutes. Like, Jesus Christ, like, that was just, wow. I think the longest match was like 15 minutes, but there were so many of them. And I'd love to have lived in that era, because we can look back on it now and look at that like, oh, that's crap. But when that was like the norm and there was a big war going on, I wonder what we would have thought. We probably would have been like, oh, this is the best shit ever. This is amazing. I'm just wondering that, like, that kind of, or even talk to someone who watched it back then and get their feelings on what they felt about it then, and has it changed now? Because I'm assuming there's been some changes now.
I was looking at reviews from it earlier, and they were just like, yeah, this was a pretty boring pay-per-view. So I think it was just like, at the time.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for picking it, Ryan. Great choice.
To be fair, it was
great 3 hours. That was.
I laughed my ass off through the whole thing, and we got Eddie versus Ray. Eddie versus Ray is a hidden gem. But yeah, I think that's, well, it went off the air with someone chained to a thing, and then the subtitle just came on with some really cheesy music, and that was it. So yeah, that's the end of our Halloween Havoc review. Before we leave, Dits, you can just tell us where we can find everything. I think this should be out on Wednesday, or maybe even probably Friday before Halloween, 2 days before Halloween, maybe, just to give people a nice scary warm up to Halloween on Saturday or Sunday, I think it is.
And scary it is.
Yeah, just tell us everything. The Twitch, the YouTube, the Spotify, everything. Plug it away.
Yes, you can find me on Twitter at ProjectDits, and same over on Instagram. And then it is literally just ProjectDits across the board. So YouTube, Twitch, Apple Pods, Spotify, and I think our ProjectDits feed is pretty much on every single podcast application. I'm pretty sure it is. Maybe not Amazon yet. I think I applied for Amazon, so maybe that's happened. I haven't in the background. I haven't even noticed it yet. But pretty much everywhere you get your podcasts, you'll find ProjectDits, and you should check it out. There's so many great pods. Yours is consistently fantastic. Mine is obviously amazing. We've got the Worst Wrestling Pod. We've got the football podcast that we said earlier. Like there's so much stuff to enjoy. And over on Twitch, I will plug this while I'm here, seeing as this is coming out before Halloween. I have a Hallow stream on the night of Halloween, so Saturday this week. If you're watching this, if you're listening to this like a couple of months past the time it's released, then well, you missed it. Sorry. I'm doing a Hallow stream for Halloween. I'll be dressing up as something. I don't know what yet, and we're going to be playing some scary games.
Yay! And if you get to 50 followers, you can start monetizing the channel, I think. So get on that.
Yes,
it's
20
great
to go.
Yeah, it is, honestly. Just subscribe. Create all your burner accounts. Just subscribe. I've popped in a few streams and they've been really good. We'll probably start working on like trying to play some Among Us with all the ProjectDits crew soon, because Among Us is a great game and it always gets clicks. It's a fun. I mean, Andrea Cortez was playing like That was just a mental like time in the, where one of the candidates, one of the Democratic politicians, was playing Among Us with fans. But yeah. So as far as we like, honestly, ProjectDits has been the best thing that's ever happened to us. There's literally podcasts on almost every single day. So like, if you want different perspectives on wrestling, Dits put out a Halloween pre-show on Sunday, which the graphics for were fantastic. So go check them out on Twitter. No, they were really, really cool. My favorite part about the podcast is the graphics, and I know Kieran loves them as well. Every time I submit the thing for the graphics, I'm just like, I can't wait to see what this one looks like. But yeah, it's just fantastic. There's a podcast like I've listened to every single podcast, and it's fantastic. In terms of us, we still have merch. Hopefully some new designs soon. I'm gonna try and see what we can come up with.
Yeah, but, no doubt I'll be doing those, boys. I'm like I'm your graphics bitch.
Hey, my man, the Genetics Forgot T-shirt is brilliant. tpublic.com/Horror Wrestling Podcast. You're probably gonna have to search that, because unfortunately I think TeePublic they're very hard to find by search if you're not selling.
Oh yeah, it's terrible.
It's really hard. So just look up tpublic.com/Horror Wrestling Podcast. Spotify, SoundCloud is the same usuals, and then you can find us on all platforms on ProjectDits. Leave reviews on iTunes as well. They're really, really cool. Just leave a 5-star review. It helps on all the podcasts. But yeah, that's about it. We're going to be back on. After this, me and Kieran are recording Takeover Throwbacks, Takeover Chicago, which was amazing. I only remember this morning that Pete Dunne and Tyler Bate fucking tore it up on the undercard, if for want of a better term. And then on Sunday we'll be back for the regular podcast where we will chat shit. And episode 70. Episode 70. We're 30 away from episode 100. I cannot wait to plan episode 100. Maybe we'll get all members of ProjectDits on and just get drunk and see what happens.
All members? Are you kidding me?
Who cares? Let's go crazy. Episode 100. No holds barred. But yeah, I can't wait to plan that. 50 was a quiz show, so let's see what 100 is. But Kieran, I think it's time to take us home, and I'm assuming you have a little special Halloween outro to take us home for this evening.
Jeez, a lot of pressure. My name has been Kieran Brennan. With me, as always, my co-host
Amanda Genetics Forgot, Rian,
and with us for this very special edition was ProjectDits. You can find him anywhere. And as we say at the end of every episode of the Halloween Wrestling Podcast, Happy Halloween!